Next thing to consider is ACCESSFM. This is an acronym. This just means that all the letters mean something different. The letter A stands for aesthetics. Aesthetics relates to the human senses, for example, sight, touch, hear, smell, taste. In the case of a clock, the aesthetics that should be considered are sight and maybe touch. You might want to consider the colour you're going to paint it, if the shape of the design works well, or what details have been added to grab people's attention. An example for my product might be, I will use bright colours because it relates to my theme of a sky and stands out to the customer. The second letter is C. This stands for cost. The things that need to be considered at this stage are how you might keep the cost down when making it so your design could make more profit, or how much you might sell it for and why. An example for my clock might be, I will keep the products fairly small to reduce the amount of materials I will use. This will reduce the amount I need to spend on materials and increase my profit. The third letter is also C. This stands for client. The things you need to consider at this stage are things like, are the colours and the design suitable for your client? The word client just means who are you designing the products for? An example of this would be, I have chosen to paint my clock multicoloured because my product is for boys and girls and these colours would suit both genders. The fourth letter is E. This stands for environment. The things to consider at this stage are things like the 6 R's. This stands for recycle, reduce, rethink, repair, refuse, and reuse. Or is the material biodegradable, i.e. will the material rot away easily after use? Or are the materials used sustainable, which means will they ever run out if large amounts are made? An example from my design would be, I will use recycled wood to make the clock because it means less trees will need to be cut down. This will reduce the product's carbon footprint. Carbon footprint just means the total greenhouse gas emissions caused by an individual product. The fifth letter is an S. This stands for size. The things to consider at this stage are, how big will the product be? Why would you want to make it this size? Where will the products be placed and why knowing this will affect the size? An example for my design would be, the clock would be 300 millimeters high to make it easy to see the time from a distance, 200 millimeters wide and 70 millimeters deep so it can easily fit on a child's bedside table or on a shelf. The sixth letter is also an S. This stands for safety. The things to consider at this stage are, is the product potentially dangerous? What have you done to reduce the dangers? An example for my design would be, I have rounded the corners of the stand to reduce the chance of a child getting cut. I will also smooth the wood to reduce the chance of splinters. The seventh letter is an F. This stands for function. This relates to how the product will work. The things to think about at this stage are the numbers in the correct place? Will it stand up and not fall over easily? Do the hands rotate smoothly and consistently all the time? An example for my design would be, the hands need to be aligned to prevent them from getting in each other's way as they rotate, so that the time remains consistently correct. The eighth letter is an M. This stands for material. The things to consider at this stage would be, what materials are you planning to use? Why are you planning to use those materials? Are the materials easy to work with, etc.? An example for my product would be, I'm going to use pine, which is a softwood, to make the stand because it's fairly easy to cut through and work with. It can also be painted easily. The final letter is also an M. This time it stands for manufacture. The things to consider at this stage are, how are you going to make the product? What tools might you use and why? How might you finish the product, i.e. with acrylic paint or spray paint? An example for my product would be, the clock will be made by cutting the wood to size with a hand saw and then joining the pieces together with wood glue. This will be firmly connecting the pieces and won't take long.